So my first favorite aspect in Hollywood Orchestra Opus Edition is that the instruments load extremely fast. Check this out. So let's say you want to use some brass, go into this instrument here, this folder, let's say, 2 French horns, longs, let's use the legato. Double click to load, and check this out. Double click now, start to play now. I have no idea how they did this, but they load so fast. Even if you switch to another library, let's say orchestrated woodwinds, let's say alto flute, longs, accent, this one, double click, load. Insane. That's super important to me, because I hate when I switch instruments when I have to just sit and wait for them to load. So that's a great aspect. My second favorite aspect is the crazy number of instruments and articulations you get with the Opus Edition Hollywood Orchestra here. I mean, check this out. Just here, Hollywood brass, you get 2 French horns, but you also get a solo French horn here and 6 French horns here. And in each category here, you get subfolders with the various types of articulations. So the long articulations, shorts, effects, legato, mute, and also a master key switch, and this is available for every single instrument, as you can see. And in the master key switch patch, you can actually choose which instruments you or which articulations you want to use. You don't have to use them all. So if you, let's say we just load this up here, the trombone and bass trombones master key switch patch. This will take a bit longer to load since it's a key switch patch. Then you can go to the the play here and articulations tab. And I mean, you can see all the articulations available. It's insane. And you can actually choose, these are turned on, as you can see, but you can also turn them off and they will load out from RAM. So let's say in this particular music composition, you want to use some legato slurred repetition here. Well, add that, and that articulation is loaded in. But let's close that now. Discard all changes. So you can also save your changes, of course, for your patches. But as you can see, there is simply so much to go through. So many articulations. I can't think of anything missing in terms of articulations, because there's just so many of them. The downside of this can be a bit of overwhelm, because it's so much to take in, so much to explore. I would say that is probably my biggest, the biggest drawback of this is that you can get a bit overwhelmed in the beginning. I know I have been. So it will take a while to go through everything and experiment and see what's in here. My third favorite aspect is actually about the interface itself. I think it is beautifully laid out and organized, even though it's so much to go through, but once you get used to it, it's actually very well laid out. So first you have the Browse tab up here. So when you load in an instrument, let's say the three trumpets short, let's say this one here, you can see it loads up to the left here. So you can actually load in more instruments if you want to, and play them on various MIDI channels if you prefer that workflow. Or you can even perform them at the same time if you use the same MIDI output, or MIDI input, I mean. But also, once you load it in an instrument and that is activated, you can go to the play section, and here you can go to the automation and map different kinds of automation, the CC controllers, as you want them. So you can see you have the legato time now on CC5, expression on 11, consordino on CC15. I mean, it's so much automation you can do. You have the player here on play, where you see this beautiful interface, in my opinion at least. And here you can actually switch between different... let's see, where are we? Why is there no sound? Why? Where are you? Oh, I had it on the wrong MIDI. Okay, so you can see the MIDI channel here. So here you can switch moods. So soft, classic, and epic. Soft is, of course, a more softer, favoring the softer. And classic is the average. and epic is more hyped. So it favors the louder dynamics there. So I usually keep this on classic. Here you can see you can choose mono true legato, which means even if I press 2 keys, only one will play. If I don't have that, you can play more notes. You can adjust the legato timing, portamento, and so on here. And as you can see the legato, or the MIDI controllers here. So legato time is on 5 and so on. And over here to the right side, you can actually, if you have the Diamond Edition, which I have, you can actually mix with different microphones. So right now you have the main mix, which I believe is that mix is available in the Gold Edition. If you have the Diamond Edition of East West Hollywood Orchestra Opus Edition, you get all of this. So you can go for the close and mid here and add them like so. Let's mix that below and up here. So you get a more close sound. Also, the reverb is on, and this is, I believe this is the convolution reverb from Spaces, which is one of my favorite reverbs. But let's say you turn that off. Now we get a super close. And you can use your external reverb in that case if you prefer. So this is the main play where you adjust the main mix and so on. The perform here, I usually don't go into here, but you can see the range and so on, and the key switches, I believe, there. And of course the mixer, so you can have insert effects and so on. I usually keep those in my DAW in any case, but if you prefer to mix it in here, there's a console here where you can add effects as well. Okay, so that is my third favorite aspect, the interface, how it's laid out. It may take a while to get used to it because there's so many tabs to go through, but I prefer it that way because otherwise it wouldn't have fit the screen basically, because there's so much you can do. Now for my final fourth favorite aspect of Opus Edition, the brand new Orchestrator Mode. So this is really cool. If you go back to the libraries here, you can see you have the brass and harp and solo cello and so on, but what's this? Orchestrator, which is only one instrument here, but it's really not. I will show you now. Hollywood Orchestrator. Let's load that up. So what this is basically, you can use it as a phrase engine or as basically an orchestrator, divisi mode and so on for your strings and so on, because you have all these presets here. So let's say you want to use a strings long. Well, you can use this big legato. Let's go with sustain basics. If I double click that, watch what happens now. So it will actually take a bit longer because it will load several instruments. So you can see it loaded first violin's legato slur articulation, second violin's sustain, viola's legato slur, cello legato slur, and bass's legato slur. And you can see here what it will do. If I play a chord, let's say C major in the middle here, it will use a top note in the arranging mode for the violin, the middle 2 for violin 2, the middle note for viola, cello the lowest, and bass is lowest. So let me just play a simple C major chord. So I will see here. Okay, so I will write the mode wheel to make it. Okay, so it hasn't loaded in the final one because this takes a bit longer. As I said, it loads in all these instruments first. Now, okay, so let's check it out. Okay, so I forgot I need to have the bass note here to trigger the bass. But actually, because I was so high in this, you can actually use this. So you have the lowest, but you can, if I play the same C chord in the middle and I have this transposed an octave down, watch what happens. Now it starts to play. Let's transpose that 2 octaves down and the cello 1 octave down. Now, from only using one simple C major chord in the middle of the piano keyboard, and riding the mode wheel. F minor. Or perhaps you want to play the actual lowest note yourself. Then let's say I cannot ride the mode wheel, so let's just put it in the middle. Let's say I use the C an octave below. Go to F. A little bit higher. Alright, so that's the ensemble engine basically, but you can also use phrases here. So if I go into strings short and then choose one of these staccato basic pattern, that one here, it will load all those instruments. Again, the Orchestrator mode will take a bit longer because it has to load in everything first here, every instrument. So that's I guess the downside of using the Orchestrator. However, it can do so much once you loaded it up here. So now if I play the same thing again, C major with the C. Or let's say we use, oh yeah, so now we are on the ensemble. I forgot. We need to switch to the ostinatos engine. You also have a score engine, which is even more fun. So ostinatos, let's use 8 notes here and this pattern. Load that up. Again, need to load every instrument here. But now you actually get even more here, as you can see. So now I only need to hold down the chords. So now it actually loads not only the strings in this mode, because you get everything. So you have the percussion, brass, and woodwinds and strings. So let's use F major. A minor. E minor. G major. Back to F. So fun to use. And finally you have the score mode where there's like this genre style things here. Elves World 2. Let's try it out and see how it sounds. So this is the, as you can see, Hollywood Orchestrator. It loads everything up here. So what do we got? 3 flutes, legato, slur, oboe, legato, slur, harp, harmonics, harp, pluck, long, 8 violins, legato, slur, second violins, legato, slur, violas, sustain, cello, legato, slur, basses, sustain. So it has to load everything up. It takes yeah. So a downside also is that it will take a lot of RAM. So make sure you have a good computer with lots of RAM if you are going to use a lot of these Orchestrator presets. So let's try F major again. G major. Oh yeah, this really has that magical sound. I can see the name Elves World. For the fun of it, let's try the Dark Hero, because I can imagine how it sounds, but let's see. So as you can see, there's so much to go through here. So let's use D minor. Whoops, it actually starts to clip here, or was it only... Oh yeah, I was just too early. It's so many things. Here we have some morcatos, some timpani. Let's see if it has loaded in now. Let's go even lower. D minor. It was more. It wasn't as dark as I thought. Actually, let's try one final one before we go into the instruments and have some fun with those. Superhero 3. Okay, so what do we get here? We get some EH. I guess you need to learn all these abbreviations: staccato, doubling, clarinet. Bass. Okay, let's see what this sounds like. E minor. I can see myself having a lot of fun. You can use this for inspiration, or actually in the real final track if you want to. Personally, I mainly use these kinds of phrase things for inspiration and mock-ups and stuff. So I would probably use the ensemble engine in the orchestrator. Finally, you actually have the user where you can actually save your own presets here. Category, preset name, and make your own. If you close this, everything. So okay, so that's the orchestrator. And that is my fourth and final favorite aspect. Now we will dive into playing some of these instruments and articulations in the Hollywood Orchestra Opus edition. So let's just dive in and play some of these amazing sounds in Opus edition of Hollywood Orchestra. Let's start with a brass folder. Let's start with the French horns first, legato. In my opinion, I always reach for the legato sounds and see how those sound. Really nice transitions there. So let's just a slur repetition. Let's use the slur accent. Let's try to speed it up. It comes with the faster, and let's do the runs because I want to see how fast it can go. Let's just run over the keyboard, so a major scale. Let's do the minor from A. And of course you have to go in the MIDI editor and fix those, but that's a good way to do runs in my opinion, just. Okay, so it actually coped with those pretty good. You have some effects, the crescendos, rips. Let's do a rip shake. And you can always go here to the play engine and see where the range is. C3 to G4 here. Oops. It says C3 here, this is C4 because I'm using the C4 as MIDI, the center note on the keyboard. Let's do the trombones next. I will not go through everything because it's simply too much, but let's just dive in and try a couple of them. Repetitions. Double tongue on staccato. And you have the marcatos. Two trombones plus the bass trombones in the same patch here. Let's go to the trumpets because I want to try some fast things here. Okay, so this is cool. You have the mod will control the speed. So on the lowest setting, it's super fast. Staccatissimo. And on the highest setting, it's more like a marcato. So if I ride the mod wheel on the performance, and if you can time it correct, it can be a bit tricky in my opinion. But I always prefer this compared to key switches to change, because honestly I don't like using key switches. So I like patches where you can do a lot in one single articulation preset. Okay, so you get more articulations from the same preset. So you get actually two trumpets exp, which I assume is expressive. Let's do the legato slur accent. Okay, let's see, where are we? Where are we? Here. As you can see, you can get the accent. And if you think you want to mix it a bit differently, so here you see the loaded main. Let's actually do the stage as well, like this. So you can push it back. Only if you have the Diamond Edition you will get access to all these microphone positions. If you have another reverb perhaps. No. It was chamber 2. Okay, so too much reverb there. Real nice. And you can also do these mood presets here, so soft favors the softer dynamics. Classic, of course, is medium, average, and then epic, which is... like that. You can also get this vintage here. I'm not sure exactly what it does, but I think it's a different kind of processing, of course, I think. Sounds really good anyway. Okay, so that's some brass. Ooh, low brass. This is something I like to do, which is take a long accented patch like that. Then look at this. Let's go to the strings just for a moment here and do the basses and long marcato, dragging that as well. Not double click to replace it, but actually load it in as an extra layer. Go here, change that to 1, so it listens to MIDI in channel 1, which means that it will play these as layers. Listen to this now. So this is actually, I think I will put that an octave below. Let's see, where can I put it? Perform, mix. Where's the best place to put it an octave below? Is it here? No. Octave. No, that's fine. Ascents, okay, it's not octave. Let's see, where is it? Play, automation, perform, mix. Where do I put this an octave below? I guess I could use this, like so. And then you can... So I'm playing actually both at the same time. But I actually want to use something different with more attack, marcato sustain. Let's do short marcato, this one. Whoops. What did I do? Move that one. Marcato long. So you have to make sure this is on 1. Okay. Okay, so you can do it here as well on the octave, so it listens an octave above, plays an octave below, like that. So you can actually layer different instruments and make it so that only one track in your sequencer performs all of these at the same time. If you want to. I like doing that on, for example, bold marcato accents and sometimes on short note performances. So that is some of the brass. Let's continue with the harp. So let's try one of these maestro patches, Harp Angels. Let's see how that sounds. Harp is such a beauty. It's one of my favorite instruments because it has this like light but magical divine quality. And harmonics even more so. Let's just try this maestro patch here. You have the individual articulation patches. Let's use a pure harmonic. Even higher. The harmonics on plucked strings is, I find it so magical. You have various effects here. Harp nail pick. More sharper attack. Crystally sounding. Pluck long. Thumb pick. And by the way, you can always go in, remove or reduce the reverb. If you want more focused sound, let's go back to it again. And of course you have some effects like classic glissando, because this is really tricky to do manually. Fast. So it goes up and down, up and down. Slow. And you of course have a master key switch pads. Let's continue orchestral percussion. So much in here. You have the combo kits, so you can load up an orchestral percussion basics kit with basically everything mapped out on your MIDI keyboard. So on the lower, let's see, we have a timpani, I believe. Where are we? Where are you? Play. Okay, so we're here. As you can see, the range down there. And I think you have the bass drum here. No, here. You can roll. Snare drum. Let's see, up rearrangers. With some cymbals. However, I prefer to load it up manually like this. So let's say this Ludwig 36-inch bass drum. Because then you can sequence every drum and percussion instrument one by one in your sequencer, in your DW. Various kinds of snares, as you can see, you can just hold one to hear the sound. And that I really like, so when you feel you find the right one. The only downside with percussion is that you never know what notes it's mapped to. You have to go here and see, like, okay, so we are down here. Because there's no standard here really for orchestra percussion. There is like for a standard acoustic drum kit and such. So drums, you get the basic, you get the bass drum, you have the timpani here. Hard hits, soft hits, rolls, and so on. Timpani gets the most articulations, it seems. And in the other drum category, field drums, tambourines, bass drums, snares, concert toms. Let's try the concert toms. Nice. And you have some marching drums. Then you have cymbals, both cymbal pairs, you know, that you crash together like that. Piatti, I think it's called. Then you have suspended cymbals, like crescendos, like this one. Okay. And you also have some metal instruments, crotales, glockenspiel. So you can see where are we high up in range. Orchestral chimes. You know, the classic church bell kind of sound. Crotales, like glockenspiel, very shimmery. Some vibraphones, triangles. Woods, you get the mallets, like marimba, for example. You get some celesta. And you can see xylophone. It pretty much covers everything here in the drums and percussion. Then woodwinds, it's probably my favorite actually in the entire library. It sounds so sweet and beautiful. So you get a lot here too. So you have 3 flutes, 2 flutes, and solo flute. Thank you, that was amazing. So just try one of these. Let's say the accented legato slur patch here on the flute, solo flute. And then try to ride the mod wheel at the same time. Let's see. Where are you? Here we are. I mean, listen to the... And it can handle quite fast passages. Because you have a legato, slur, and accent in this patch. But if you want even faster, let's go for the runs. Why? It's staccato runs. You have to. I think you have to sync that up. It has some lag behind it, latency there. But let's see. Some effects here. Oh yeah, so you actually have some recorded runs. Down, up. Major, down, up. Thrills, runs, down. Oh, so much to use here. And of course the standard key switch patch, or for example some short notes, staccato. And you also get alto flute and bass flute. So you can cover all the ranges for flutes pretty much here. Bass clarinet and 3 clarinets and E-flat clarinet and standard clarinet and contrabass clarinet. That's quite a lot of clarinets. Let's try some long sustain accent. And always try the legato. You know how I am about legato. Let's do the legato expressive slur. So that's the bass clarinet. Let's try the standard clarinet. Let's do the 3 clarinet and try the shorts. Okay, let's continue with the solo cello, and here I always go for the legato again. Let's do a bow change, solo legato. Solo cello is probably my most favorite sound of all instruments. Okay, but let's just try a legato slur here instead. Beautifully legato here. And I also want to try the runs. So this is a much faster legato transition. So you can play like that. Solo violin, legato again, expressive vibrato. Let's try that one. Lyrical vibrato. So two different types. What did I do? What did I do? Oh, it loads. A bit slower in the beginning there. You can feel it right in the note. Then you also get a legato run. So you can form faster passages. Then finally we have the big strings section. This is the library that takes the most amount of room on your hard drive because it covers a lot. You have the 18 violins, first violins, divisi. So divisi for first violins, second violins, cello, and basses. And then you get an ensemble plus full strings and full strings divisi. Oh, by the way, don't forget about the violas. Actually, let's start with the violas. You can hear that violas have such a bad reputation. They can sound super sweet and lush. Let's do the portamento light here with the legato slur. Staccato, legato slur, and portamento in the same patch. Okay, so now my computer seems to be struggling a bit here because I'm recording in full HD at the same time. Okay, so we are up and running now, so check this out. So this is one of my favorite types of presets for instruments. Why? Because you have staccato, legato, and portamento in one single preset, so you can go from staccato and then start to play legato in the same phrase. And then if I play very softly with overlap, you get the portamento slide. And why I love this is because you don't have to do a lot of key switching when you sequence and when you compose your tracks. So that is violas. Let's go to try some divisi. Let's go to the cellos and use some long detache. Let's see what we have here. Divisi means they are actually separating each note to different cellos in the range. So not every note is played by all cellists, because that's impossible in real life, of course. And here you can really hear, when you hear the individual sections, how they are panned, like in the stereo stage of where they were recorded. Which can be a bit annoying to listen to individually, in my opinion, at least. I want to hear it with the other instruments. And let's see, if we go to the play mode here, let's see, why is it only loaded the closed microphones? Mic positions. And here, this is new to me, library. Here you can see where they are actually recorded. So here on the right side. Okay, so let's go back to the browser again. Let's do some basses. Let's listen to those longs detache. No, let's do marcato, because we want a bold accent. Alright, then some legato slurs. Okay, so there, on the final notes, I would have key switched to that marcato articulation, or use the, so I would use the key switch patch for that. Let's just compare the 18 violins to the first violins and second violin section. So longs here. Let's use them. Always the legato. Where are you? Okay, so needing loading a bit more. Okay, so I'm too low there. Portamento, a lot of portamento here. Legato portamento, legato slur with portamento. So it's legato at a higher velocity. And then when I play very softly, it does the portamento. Again, I prefer these where you can choose. But no staccato in that case. Effects, repetitions, penderecki. I have no idea what this is. Okay, could be cool for some creepy background in a scary movie or something. Let's do the first violins now and compare the legato and how it sounds here. Slur. And I feel that, especially on the strings now, that you have to get used to that. They have a natural latency due to the changing to the next note in the legato transitions. So you can really feel it. You have to play the note a bit early. But many other string sample libraries have this, so you might already be used to it. It's a bit tricky, but let's do this again. Staccato, legato, slur, and portamento in the same patch. Let's compare this to the second violins. Let's see if we can hear any color change. Because if we go to the play here, and let's mic positions. Second violin is a bit further back here. So very tiny difference, but it's still there if you place different lines with these instruments. Let's do some divisi on them as well, so let's go with the shortest now. Pizzicato, for example. Ricochet, perhaps? Which is, I think, one of the fastest articulation you can do on strings. It's like bouncing really quickly on the string there. Spiccato, also fast off the bow, off the string. So it bounces. And staccato a bit longer. But you hear that divisi sound, it's so much more natural. So this is probably also one I forgot to mention, but that they have these divises for all the string sections and the full strings. I should have put that as one of my favorite aspects of Opus Edition Hollywood Orchestra, because it can make a huge difference when you orchestrate everything to have this divisi sound, because that's the natural way they are arranged for in a real orchestra. Because a single violin here in the section cannot play all the notes, of course. It plays one line, its own line, and then you arrange it in divisi. Okay, so where are we? We're on the violins, cellos. Did you try these ensembles? Okay, so these are actually ensembles with not only the strings, but others. Sultasto with flutes, clarinets, bassoons and stuff. Let's see. Really beautiful, actually. I didn't know about this category. So they have some different orchestrations here. But what I wanted to check out was the final string section, which is the full strings, the entire string ensemble. Let's do this one with an extra added first violin's legato on top. Let's see how that sounds. Oh, oh, wow. This is probably one of my favorite categories here, the full strings. I want to try it in Divisa and see how much I can get these separated more. Here how... Let's say, I can't ride the mode wheel and play with both my hands, but let's try in the middle. A bit higher. So I actually think... Where are we? Where's the range? So I have to play down here as well. You hear such... It has the definition. Oh, but the lush, beautiful, roomy sound of the stereo stage. Okay, so let's try some short notes in this as well. Let's do this staccato marcato mod wheel. Let's try to play this. And also some longs here. No, we already tried that. Some more Divisi effects. What do we have? We have the tremolo on everything. Let's ride the mod wheel. Octaves in the bass. Really nice dynamic range as well. And I mean, I couldn't literally go through everything because there is so much to go through, and that is probably the biggest upside and the biggest downside at the same time, because you will feel overwhelmed in the beginning. So many, all these libraries with all the folders and all the articulations and the interface, there's so much you can do if you want to. Sound control, sound shaping, mappings of automation, expressive controllers, and all these things. And one big advantage is that you can get access to everything with a monthly or yearly subscription. Instead of buying this as a single product, you will get access to everything, including all their other libraries in their Creative Cloud, I think they call it. So I strongly recommend that you check out their walkthrough videos of this collection, Hollywood Orchestra Opus Edition, and decide for yourself if this is something you want to add to your music composition toolkit. So I will see you guys in the next video. Now choose which video you are going to watch next, or you can check out the amazing bonuses in the video description.